guys, if you're here, I have to talk a little quietly. Just to let you know, this council is for the info center area. Say hi to Michael. Psst. Say hi to. We have company.
Afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming and participating in your local government. Of interest, the LAPD has begun a new reporting system, moving from the traditional paper, writing everything out. It's now gone to, it's supposed to be more of doing things digitally, uploading, cutting back on paperwork and whatnot. The interesting thing with that is it's affecting the ability to track stats. The way it's like a new system, so we don't have updated numbers or anything like that. I don't have anything significant to report as far as that goes. I do know you were involved in some follow-up.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, and to be honest, that was the detectives in the regular process, which sometimes takes longer than.
No, that's great. For anybody who wasn't here last month, somebody stole our street sign on Cosmo Street within district. I actually was there to see the whole thing. They wouldn't put it back. I told them I was going to make a police report. I did, and the detective followed up, and I was able to identify. So that's what we're talking about. So be good Samaritans, and these things do work. Like you can get your citizen's arrest on, or you can just file a police report. So it's a true story. So go ahead. Any stakeholder questions? Okay, 2 minutes. Oh wait, yeah.
2 minutes. Hi, Senior Lead Officer White. I just want to ask, like in general, for a noise complaint, how long does it take for LAPD to respond to just a simple noise complaint? My estimate is that it's going to take hours if they even show up. But the other day, and I know it's not right here in this council district, but since you're, LAPD, I need to bring it up that over in the Hollywood United area in front of La Poubelle, somebody was using a megaphone for a few minutes, protesting in front of, yes, it was across the street from Celebrity Center. Celebrity Center called in a noise complaint, someone making noise outside of a church, and I use that term loosely. And LAPD rained down like they were armed fugitives running, kidnapping somebody. Numerous officers, numerous cars swarmed in, pulling somebody out of their vehicle, pushing people who, people who are there, and, for a noise complaint. I know that's not the norm. So we are seeing the bias of Scientology in bed with LAPD. And it will happen here. That's why I'm bringing it up here. It will happen here. When Scientology calls, LAPD will run. They will go overboard. They will violate rights. They will do whatever it takes to help Scientology. And and it's just, it's got to stop. You guys are showing your bias. You're showing the corruption, and we don't want it anymore. And it's absolutely beyond the pale. And that's not how you respond to a noise complaint. And you arrested the person and took them in for a noise complaint. Not even a minute on a megaphone, or maybe a couple minutes. It's utterly ridiculous. Please cease and desist. Thank you.
Next slide, yes. Let's go from front and then we'll go back.
Yeah, you started talking about this digital form versus the written form. When's that going to go into action?
It's already in effect.
It's in effect. Is there a website that we go to?
There is online reporting which already has been up and running. It's LAPD.online. LAPD online, and but this is specific to officers, as opposed to when officers respond and take. Previously, you would actually fill out a piece of paper, people would sign right there. Now it's all done. Actually, you do it on your phone or like a tablet.
And what about our existing reports that we filed? What's happening with those? Is those being moved to digital, or do we still deal with those the same way?
That's still, everything that was already previously done stays as it was. Everything now is transitioning as we were taking. It doesn't change the investigation. The actual way it's taken is just how it's brought into the system.
Yeah, so you mentioned online reporting. So a battery report, would that be done online or in the field?
It depends. Oh no, battery would be done in the field.
Only in the field, not online, right?
All the circumstances. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, because, yeah, you should talk to Sergeant James about that, he seems to think that's being done online. She mentioned the relationship between Scientology and LAPD. One of the biggest problems is Officer White right here, this guy right here. This is like one of the main Scientologist defenders. He's out of this division all the time at Scientology functions. If there's a Scientology function, Officer White's gonna be here. Back to the council members, to the neighborhood council members, especially you and the lady in the middle. You know, I gotta tell you, we just added $110 million to LAPD budget while we cut housing and homelessness funding by $400 million. That happened last Thursday. That's our new budget. And part of the problem is you. You want a detective to come out over a street sign being stolen. You, yes, you. The fact that we are doing that, that you are that much of a Karen to demand a detective about a street sign, when there are all types of things going on, especially at Hollywood Boulevard. No, it's a statement about the police. Don't cut me off. It's statement about the police, don't cut
It's
me
not a
off.
question, wait for public comment.
It's a public comment, exactly, this is
Public
a
comment
comment.
section, this is questions for me.
But this is
Done.
public comment.
His name calling, next person. Any other questions for?
You're a Karen lady.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Breaking the law is a great thing.
No, it's not a great thing,
No,
but it doesn't require a detective. That's your priority. That's your priority.
Next, we'll open up to public comment. People have up to 2 minutes of public comment on anything not on the agenda, and then we'll have time for it. So if you have public comment, please raise your hand. Thank you. Please start the timer.
Hi, of course, it's going to be related to Scientology, but a broken record here, but I'm bringing a different aspect to it. And SB4, I don't know if you're aware of that, the state created a law where religious institutions can, whatever property they've owned prior to January, I believe, of 2024, they can build, any kind of housing that they want. And so now the city council is trying to do 23-172 council file to make it where that date is endless. So my concern is that Scientology will, if this passes through the council, will be able to buy up every property, they have, any property they want, and turn it into like high-level, like 6-story housing. Like, we could become the metropolis of Scientology. Like, that's how far it could go. And so it's not just Scientology. I mean, it's just only for religious-based organizations. But do we as a city want any group that can just take whatever property they want and by right build all this housing? I understand we have a housing crisis, but you can see how that can become a problem. For me, it's because of the Scientology aspect. I can see them doing that. I believe they already are, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking into it. But I'm asking you to please, as a board, consider looking into, it's SB4 is the state law, and then the council district 23-172, and because and ask them not to vote no. Now, this SB4 is already in law, so they can already build as long as they owned it prior to January, but we don't want them doing it ongoing and changing the date to indefinite. Thank you.
Public comment, yes, sir, in the front.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of what Liz wants to do down. As you said, as city board members, I highly recommend that you guys take a clear look at Clearwater, Florida, and look what Scientology has done there. They've actually bought up one building after another building after another building, and the city is actually dead. There's no restaurants open, there's no activity downtown. The city's now trying to fight to get their buildings back. They're trying to either do domain, public domain back to get some of the buildings back, but Scientology is back at it again. They're doing this in every city across the United States, and I think that if you guys are really concerned about your city, you really need to take some time and investigate what this cult is doing to the city and the relationship that they're building with the police officers is really it's not fair to our community. And that's why we're here. We want to have a fair community. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next public comment, yes, sir, in the front. Yes, sir.
Yeah, getting back to what I was talking about before, we are defunding the city right now because of these guys, LAPD. Again, they got a $110 million increase. They already get 48.4% of our discretionary budget. And we just gave them a huge increase while we cut homelessness and housing spending by $400 million. They are defunding it. And the reason why, and I'll bring it back to you, is it's not helpful when we have Karens demanding police resources being used for petty things. I know that you like citing Citizen App all the time. Let me explain how Citizen App works. Citizen App has somebody in the control room listening to police radio, and whichever call sounds salacious, they post, and there's no follow-up afterwards. It's not accurate, and even White, the corrupt White, would admit that. So when I come in here and every week you cite what Citizen App says, you actually look like quite a fool. That's all I'm saying.
OSA, OSA, would you like to speak?
That's Office of Special Affairs, Scientology.
Yeah, that's a prank call.
So we're gonna go on to the next.
It's gonna be a prank call.
Shelley?
That's what they do.
2 minutes.
Good evening, council. I'm just calling because I have not received a response from LAPD. Just regarding this is regarding Officer Brian White, who's there right now. Officer Brian White and I have 3 kids together, and he's behind on child support.
I'm sorry, your guys' time.
Good evening, I'm the executive director of A Million Drops, and we're a nonprofit that's been in existence since 2013. We're asking for $1,000 to go towards hiring a formerly homeless individual who's helping us with the showers over at the Hollywood Adventist Church in the Compassion Connection group. And this gentleman, we'll be paying him the $17.25 an hour, and for 60, we'll get about 60 hours for that, and that's pretty much it. If you have any questions. The shower program's been operating for the last 5 years. I'm also the president of Hollywood United Neighborhood Council, and we're the original vendors of that particular showers code that is on that campus. And it's changed a little bit because we lost our portable shower, but we're getting a new one. So there's a few things that are happening there, but we serve about 50 to 75 individuals every day. Right now it's over 2 individuals from 9 to 3.
Thanks a lot.
Public comments? Stakeholder comments?
Did you say you were the president of Hollywood United? Okay, because I plan on coming to your meeting in 2 weeks as well, June 10th, but you don't seem to be having planning land use ever.
We do, if we have an issue, that nobody's been bringing anything up.
Oh.
And a couple of times that it's been brought up, a lot of our members on I know, sorry, a lot of members on the board, we have a conflict.
Okay.
Any questions about the?
Well, I support the shower thing. I think that's great, and can I email you privately? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for having us tonight. My name is Samantha Dornfeld, and I'm with Community Outreach with Neighborhood Forward. I'm joined by Dave Powers from Harris Regis, the developer for the site. We're going to introduce you to our project on the corner of Sunset and Vine. So the project would include 170 AU residential units built around the existing 64 units in the tower.
I wonder why they left with Slowwood.
Income and 8 low-income affordable housing units. The proposed project is an 8-story mixed-use podium building consisting of over 16,000 square feet of new retail and restaurant space on the ground floor. Additionally, we're not required to provide parking, however, we are providing 284 parking spaces. All right, now I'm going to take you through some renderings of the project. This is a view from the corner of Sunset and Vine, looking on to the existing tower and new ground floor retail and restaurant space. Next slide.
That's what we want to do, break down walls and barriers.
This is a view from Sunset, and you can see how there's ground floor retail and then 6 stories of residential built on top of that. This is a historic Morgan camera shop, which exists on the site today. It is staying, and it's proposed as a new restaurant space. Here is the podium level with pool, club rooms, fitness center, cabanas, places for the residents to enjoy, and as I mentioned, residents of that existing tower have full access to this.
So we'll start with public comment. Folks can make public comment relating to this agenda item for up to 2 minutes. After public comment, we'll go for discussion.
Question?
Yeah, so we're gonna ask the developers not to respond to every question, until all public comment has been exhausted. So, why don't we start over on this side with the bike rider over here?
Hey, just a comment, not a question. Why don't you build something somebody needs and wants, like a single-family dwelling, a one-story, 4 duplex, something that people want instead of these, which are gonna bring too many people, a congested area. We don't want any more high density. Single-family dwellings, start doing something right. That's my comment.
Thank you.
Yes, can you tell me who the owner of the property is and the name of the developer? I'm sorry, because I missed that. And you're saying there are there's going to be 34 low income. Is there going to be any, the lower, I forget how they term it, but lower? Thank you, very low income.
We'll let all public comments, or if you don't mind, try to remember.
We'll respond to those.
Thank you.
I think there was another hand up in the back.
Yeah, what type of subsidies are you guys getting for this, especially compared to how many affordable, you say affordable. Affordable means a lot of things. Affordable could end up being $2,500 a month rent, $3,000 a month rent. So I'd like to know what you call affordable housing there and what subsidies you got from the city.
Yeah, are you guys doing anything LEED with the building? Is that it? Oh, sorry. Are you, because I didn't see much green space there, so is this a LEED building?
Yeah, we can go into that.
Okay.
I think the first question was about the developers. So the developers, the Sarah's Regis Group, they are here on your behalf today.
Yeah, there's a larger firm that actually owns the site, owns the tower and manages it right now, and the property is called Invesco. But Sarah's Regis Group is the developer on this. Can you go back to the affordable breakdown here? Oh, sorry.
This one?
Yep.
Yeah, so the affordable requirements on this project are 28 very low income units and 8 low income units. Those are actually set by the city. Those are set by the city and even the state. Very low, I believe, is 50% of median income. You can't make more than that, and low income is, my numbers may be a little bit off. I think low is 80% of area median income. Yeah. So we have 20% of the units are considered affordable in the project. You had asked about green building. The green building, yeah, so we're required to comply with the state of California and the city of LA's green building requirements, which are equivalent to LEED. And when we start building this, it's gonna be equivalent to probably gold LEED. We're also gonna be required to put solar. It's gonna be an all-electric building. Probably have to have battery backup on that. There's recycling, there's lowering energy usage, appliances, everything top to bottom is gonna have to meet all those requirements.
Are you applying for LEED certification?
Sorry, the public comment period is closed, so we can't go back and forth anymore.
Yeah, so, I don't know if we're gonna apply for LEED itself because of the requirements for city. A lot of those are more stringent than LEED, and it does cost money. I mean, we're gonna be complying with it. I don't know if we're gonna actually apply for it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't get my question answered about subsidies.
We're getting 0 subsidies from the city.
There was also a question
From the state?
Zero from the state, 0 from the federal government.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. Anyway, as I mentioned before, I'm representing Heart Forward LA. And one of the things that we do are try to provide programs that are very similar to what's happening in a little small village in Italy called Trieste. Where basically they try to have an entire community support people that are suffering with severe mental illness. And what ended up happening is we helped the LA County Department of Mental Health submit a proposal to the state to do a pilot project for 5 years. And they received funding for that. And we have a number of facilities around Los Angeles specifically for either permanent supportive, interim supportive, acute care for people suffering with severe mental illness. And one of the things we've been trying to do is provide kind of some normalcy to people that are residents of these various facilities. And so when I saw the movie nights come out, I thought, oh, this is great. We'll get a group of people to get together to go to movie night. And one of the things that we do through Clubhouse is we try to develop initiatives where basically the members actually drive the process. So this afternoon, we actually had a couple members call Albina and say, hey, this is what we're doing. We'd like to see if you can support us. they'll actually get involved in doing kind of an online sign-up sheet, so that again, they're learning the computer aspect, so they can do the online sheet. We can watch for which movies we actually have interest. Then they actually have to try to figure out how the logistics of getting people there. Again, it's gonna be member driven, so that again, it's kind of letting them run their show if they want to. And so it would really be helpful for us if you could reserve 30 seats for us at each of the movies. That would be fantastic. And that would help us pull together multiple facilities.
No, this is the community event. It's so the neighborhood council does that. Like they help it because it helps promote the neighborhood council for the community. So it's like a community event that they get a seat at to help promote the council system. But it's just it's free movies for the community.
Mine's more of a comment. For this agenda item, yeah, it's for this agenda item. Just a reminder, I spoke about this prior, and the people who came asking for money to help put this on said that they are aware of it, that Scientology, what they do at the info center, which is within your scope here, they would go give fake movie tickets they would dress up like they work for the Egyptian, go pass out movie tickets. People, your public's thinking, oh, I'm getting a free movie. And then they found out they had to go back to the information center to see it, and then they're being dragged in. So it's predatory. So as all you're there, I hope you all just keep your eyes open and look out for that. Because if that is going on, that kind of level of predatory is continuing to happen, it needs to be stopped. Thank you.
Thank you for talking about this. One, are all the event areas going to be wheelchair and handicap accessible? And will there be signing or hard of hearing?
Great questions. All our locations are ADA accessible and all of the movies are captioned.
Okay, and then I also want to talk about the same thing LA did about the Scientology not wanting to take all the tickets and then fair gaming or safe pointing the community. So it would be nice that you watch for that.
Thank you for your comment. Next comment is,
Great job, Fab Grammy.
Yes, I've actually mentioned this a couple of times in the past. Our department is asking neighborhood councils to appoint, I think it's up to 4 either board members or community stakeholders who are interested in coming together with having a collaborative approach on addressing homelessness within their community. So with this, there's going to be a series of meetings that are taking place in addition to events where we'll have speakers, workshops, what exactly
They are elected by the community, but they're volunteers.
Again, it's a
any questions about this side? Yes, sir.
Yeah, will third parties be attending groups like People's Concern and other nonprofits?
Yes, the idea is aside from city departments, we are looking to reach out to, and if they haven't already done so, to nonprofits that help address the homelessness issue.
I mean, I know this doesn't concern you, but they haven't been paid in months. They stopped taking in new homeless people. Inside Safe has come to a complete standstill because no one's been paid. So I wanted to try to figure out if this is just a bunch of sort of appointees and elected officials just talking amongst themselves, or are they talking to the people who are actually out there in the street doing the work?
We're gonna do our best to do that outreach to other organizations, but we also understand that, sometimes we reach out to LAHSA and they say, sorry, I've reached out to them personally to attend some of our meetings, and sometimes the response is, we don't have the capacity right now. And so, if you can't get it with one organization, we keep touching base with several, so that way we can get that expertise in the same meeting space as
Do you
the rest
expect
of us.
LAHSA to be there?
For tomorrow's meeting, I'm not sure if they're gonna be in attendance, but again, that's not to say that we're not gonna reach out to them, we will.
It says discussion and possible action to submit a community impact statement relating to the LA City Charter Ethics Reform ballot measure.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring this to the board as a point of, and the public, as a point of information, you can also pass a CIS on this, but, it would be after the fact, the city council has already voted on this item. So for the background, after the, leak, the audio leak with council members and the LA Fed chair, there was lots of discussion about ethics reforms in City Hall. And lots of council members submitted motions, lots of public outcry ensued, and basically one of the motions that was voted on was to draft a ballot measure for consideration in this November's election. And the Ethics Commission and other city departments weighed in on how we want to strengthen ethics at City Hall. And the recommendations from the Ethics Commission were numerous, and I encourage folks to read the council file linked on the agenda. The City Council, in voting last week, passed what has been described as a much more watered down ballot measure. So I think it can be a very robust discussion if we choose to have it, but my personal feeling is disappointment that we had this opportunity to right some of the wrongs at City Hall. For example, the Ethics Commission their budget is controlled by the same people they're tasked with investigating, the City Council. So one of the recommendations was detach the Ethics Commission's budget from that review process, so they're more independent. That was not one of the adopted ballot measures. So in November, we're gonna go and vote on a number of items to strengthen ethics at City Hall. I wish they had gone much, much farther, but if as a board we'd like to comment on that, we were able to do so. And I will say, even though the City Council passed the motion, the city attorney still has to come back with the language. The City Council passed the motion saying, City Attorney's Office, go write the ballot measure. They then have to do a final approval. So in that regard, there is still opportunity for us to weigh in, but that's where we stand in terms of timeline.
On the topic, one of the most disappointing portions of what happened was that Kevin DeLeon remained on city council and it was CB14, but then had injury to insult, was a lame duck sitting on no committees until recent has been added back to committees because, well, tax dollars are being paid towards his salary, so of course we have to put him to work. But ultimately, I feel like he kind of got a Trump card kind of voice, because he was like, yeah, no issue. So I'm questioning if this ethics commission would strengthen his removal, or a person like his removal in such an instance in the future.
That wasn't on the table. One of the things that was on the table that did get recommended for the ballot measure was increasing the penalties for violations of ethics in the ethics code. So the penalty prior was $5,000 per violation. Now it's up to $15,000, which I still think is a little.
It's a $250,000 a year salary. Well, he was part of the conversation in the back room, name calling, racist, and Gil Cedillo resigned. But what he did was he played out the long game. And he said, I'm gonna stay, and the next big thing will happen, and they'll forget about me, and unfortunately, he was right. And because, to this day, he's still there.
Basically, we're all mad at him because he didn't speak up.
No, because he stayed on.
But in the first place, they were having a private conversation about redistricting.
Yeah,
And
he
that's-
was in on
it.
He was in on it.
So I will say, just before we go to public comment, if that's okay, organized labor came out very strongly opposed to these new ethics package reforms. And I'm really upset that our council member was one of the ones who voted to water down these ethics reform. I understand your representative couldn't be here because it's a holiday, but if they were here, I would ask them, why are you voting for this?
Ethics, don't we want more ethics?
Yeah, so.
I mean, I want more ethics. and I'm a rascal.
Any other board comments from the stakeholders? Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yes, yeah, I wanted to bring up Jamie York and how they rejected her and rejected the Ethics Commission. But mind you, we heard today that how you guys, you have to sign a code of conduct, take, whatever, or you're going to be, you can't vote. So they're making sure that, that you at the neighborhood council level have your TRs in, as a Scientologist would say, that you have your, that was just a joke, sorry. But when it comes to the higher levels who are, I know, the higher levels, like, they're not interested in holding themselves accountable. And so that's why, there needs to be a pushback on that. And so please, address it, because I agree with you. I love the fact that you're sitting there saying, hey, that you're willing to, address your own council person here and say, it's not good enough. I wish I could talk to you about it. Like, I love that. I salute you tonight. You get the gold star tonight. And please keep doing that. Like, Jamie York should have been, that should not have happened. It's not okay.
Okay, let's go ahead, this, and back.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about how KDL was involved with that same racist stuff, but you have to understand, the LA Fed conversation was about it was really a lobbying scandal, and it was about rigging CD10. You mentioned Jamie York, we talk about the city council member. Let's remember, Hugo is the one who put the wrench in the system to stop her from getting onto the Ethics Commission, because Hugo claimed that all that Jamie York asked for was that lobbyists of unions would not be able to give money directly to candidates. Just the lobbyists of the unions. But Hugo's been going around, and he said this just last week in council, saying that the ethics reform would somehow require every union member to register as a lobbyist. He's a liar. I say this again, Hugo Soto Martinez is a liar. And what he did to Jamie York is disgusting. The city needs Jamie York more than ever right now in the Ethics Commission. But, as you mentioned, organized labor, LA Fed, Unite Here 11, they were the ones that insisted that Jamie York's nomination be shot down. And they're the ones that insisted that the ethics reform be killed last week. That's the unions in this now. So you need to know who the enemies are and who your friends are. And I gotta tell you, when it comes to union leadership in LA, they are not your friends if you want to have some sort of accountability with politicians or with any of these enemies. That's all I have to say. And one more thing. Once again, Jamie York is the greatest. She should be on the Ethics Commission.
Yep.
So discussion of possible actions to commit CIS related to approvals for the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So, depending on your point of view, maybe a lighter topic, but this came up because someone who doesn't like Donald Trump recognized that the current city ordinance requires city council to vote on every star that goes onto the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So he's like, the city has been in violation of the law, all the stars, or Donald Trump's star needs to be removed. But the bigger picture is that the city council said, oh wow, you're right. According to the law, city council does have to vote on every star. So they're recommending, and they voted to take that approval out, city council's approval out, because they don't. So the recommended action is that the Bureau of Engineering under Board of Public Works continues with their approval process, and just that final stamp of approval from City Council not be required because they haven't been doing it. It would be unwieldy for them to do it.
We can't make a motion to remove Trump star.
I'll say this. So since 2016, that star has been vandalized over and over again, and a lot of tourists ask why they continue to replace it. Chamber of Commerce, every time it's been vandalized. There are a lot of people with, throughout the past 60 years that the Hollywood Walk of Fame has existed. Bill Cosby still has a star. I believe Harvey Weinstein has a star. There's a lot of people that have reasons that their star should be removed, and it has not. So the Chamber of Commerce, for the last of my awareness, they have a position that once a star is in the sidewalk, it stays there. So if we start a process where we're going to start pulling stars from the sidewalk for this reason or that reason, half of the stars on the boulevard are gonna be gone.
But that's the thing, is that there's space for new people then.
Yes.
It's just going to be,
There's still plenty of space.
We took out Christopher Columbus' statues,
there
all
are 2
campuses.
stars added. Okay, separate issue. There are 2 stars added to the sidewalk every month. Do we want the city council to really be wasting our time on voting twice a month on who gets a star, who doesn't, who gets their star removed?
No, but I think
It just
it's
seems like
petition.
an extremely
I do
wasteful
think it should
amount of time.
petition for the people about who should be removed, kind of like a recall of stars.
It's going to be, every single star is going to come into question then. I mean,
Who's the decision?
think about Charlie Chaplin's star will be removed.
Oh.
There is going to be a huge, he sex trafficked minors.
What? I didn't know
It's
that.
like Scientology.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Charlie.
No, Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie, your childhood, now look at you.
Literally
Didn't
every,
you take
think about the early
you
twentieth
the one who did
century,
that?
all of the people that were
The
the
61-year-old with the
original
cloud
stars
man.
in.
Yeah, but everybody said it.
I'm serious, there will be
There will be no
60%
lies.
of the stars will be up for removal. Do we really wanna waste our city resources on going
We'll
through each
replace
of those?
those drones, isn't that city resources?
But I,
What, are they replacing drums? She said.
No, you didn't say they were replacing
Oh,
their
they're
drones,
replacing
they're
one-
vandalized?
one-
every
they're
star
vandalized.
that once it's in the sidewalk, it stays there.
When it gets vandalized, it gets replaced, you said?
Yes,
Yes,
but that is paid for by,
The Hollywood Chamber, gotcha.
the chamber does not pay for the replacement, the person whose star it is pays for the
Oh,
replacement.
so Trump keeps paying for it?
So I think my only thing is,
Come on.
I'm moving, not moving, but I would suggest that we don't prepare any kind of impact statement on this, just because it isn't, I know it's the Hollywood Walk of Fame, it's a big tourist attraction, but it's not like a monument to our
Agreed.
struggles as a society, like it's literally Hollywood. And so we are, but it doesn't feel, like, I don't look at the Hollywood Walk of Fame as like representative of like my, or like me as a citizen.
But it's this area represented.
But it's more, in my mind, it's more of like a fundraising effort to keep the sidewalks clean.
Nice,
Yeah, no,
Yeah, Councilman Tomlin.
Even though, I can't necessarily vote on the impact statement, but I do wanna say that I think it does make sense to remove the approval of the city council, because that does take time. They're not already doing it, or haven't been doing it, like, why not? So yeah, I just want to put that out there.
yeah, I do agree, it's really weird of them to do that.
So my only thought, and playing devil's advocate, is maybe we could submit a CIS suggesting that some removal process be considered or proposed, because it sounds weird to me that once you have a star, you will always have a
Yeah.
star, no matter what you
Yeah.
do. I just feel like that's a little extreme, and there's no mechanism, it's kind of like with kicking out a city council member,
Yeah.
there's no mechanism, no matter what they do, they murder 10 people,
Yeah.
they're legal, you
Oh,
can't.
Michael Jackson song, right?
So, that's my only thought. I'm not gonna die on that hill. I think we should do public comment and then decide.
That's worse.
Okay, let's go, or right, yeah.
Okay, yes, if we get to all vote on whose stars we remove, I would like to nominate Tom Cruise and Travolta, because they are part of a human trafficking organization that does abusive things like auditing children, which is so inappropriate that the police should be pounding down their doors, stopping it. They also do purification rituals. Again, police should be there pounding down the doors, stopping it. It's inhumane what they do with these purification things. But, so that's my vote. Can we please remove Tom Cruise and Travolta? Other than that, I would say it's a waste of, like, the city has more things to do than to worry about, whoever star, if we, and really, when it comes to political things, I mean, most of us are going to hate one politician or the other. Are we really just going to remove every politician star that we hate? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm just saying you guys are worried about this commission,
He has one,
to,
Susie.
remove the stars and not remove the stars. The city's just as corrupt as look at El Ron Hubbard Way. They're trafficking children all around the world. They've got their own street. The LAPD supports them all the time. I mean, what do you dig up a street, you dig up stars? I don't know where you start, where you begin with that.
I will say there's.
How can I get my star on the boulevard?
That's right.
Any other comments?
Yes, it is.
All right, well, it is 7:59, we'll adjourn.
Hey, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Let's all watch a movie.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to
Let's go watch
the
a
movies.
movie. And,
Going Clear. I recommend Going Clear. That's a really good one. Yeah, seriously, watch Going Clear. I think it's on Netflix.